Before modern rescue teams, survival depended on ordinary men, just like me and you. Men who risked everything, even in the worst conditions, just to bring others home. You hear that? That's the echoes of freedom. What's up, historians? We're back again. We're here at the Oregon Inlet Life-Saving Station. That is this building behind me, and it's right here, situated on the banks of the Outer Banks here in North Carolina, on the Oregon Inlet. The water behind me over there, just over the hills, well, I can't see it because of the fog this morning, but it still looks beautiful. But for centuries, this has been known as part of the graveyard of the Atlantic, a piece where shifting shoals, powerful currents, hurricanes, and dense fog sent thousands of ships to the bottom. And before the modern Coast Guard, before radar, before rescue helicopters, there were the men of the U.S. Life-Saving Service. And this Oregon Inlet Life-Saving Station was one of their most important outposts. To understand why the station existed, you have to understand these waters. The Outer Banks sits where the warm Gulf Stream meets the cold Labrador Current. That collision creates violent storms, unpredictable waves, and shifting sandbars. Ships would run aground just offshore, sometimes within sight of land, but in water too rough for them to save themselves. And when that happened, they had only one hope: the surfmen. So the Oregon Inlet Life Station was established in 1874, during a time when the federal government was finally organizing a professional coastal rescue system. These stations were spaced along the coast close enough that their crews could patrol the beaches between them. Every night and every season and all weather, 2 men at a time would walk miles through dark carrying lanterns, watching the ocean for distress signals or wrecks. Imagine this: walking this shoreline in the middle of a winter storm, wind cutting through you. I can kind of imagine it today because the wind is pretty strong, and it's February. It's like 40 degrees out here. It's cold. Sand blasting your face, and knowing that if you saw a ship in trouble, you were the rescue. And that's the echoes of freedom we hear. Freedom for these sailors to know that they've got help coming from this life-saving station. So there's one phrase: you have to go out. The life-saving station had a motto: you have to go out, but you don't have to come back. That wasn't poesy, it was policy. If a ship wrecked, the surfmen launched, no matter the conditions. Their primary rescue tool was the surf boat, a heavy wooden boat that had to be physically dragged across the sand and launched straight into the breaking waves. Think about that. Not from a protected harbor, not from a pier, straight into the surf. Think about going to the beach and trying to get out and do some surfing or something. You're having to fight the waves to even get to calmer waters. Other times they use the breacher's buoy rescue system, firing a line from shore to the wreck using a small cannon, then pulling sailors to safety one by one through the raging surf. It was one of the most dangerous rescue jobs in American history. So let's make a connection here. Oregon Inlet also sits near one of the most famous life-saving service stories of all, the Pea Island Station, commanded by Richard Etheridge, the first African-American station keeper. In 1896, his all-black crew performed one of the most daring rescues in U.S. maritime history, saving the entire crew of the wrecked E.S. Newman during a hurricane by swimming through the surf with a line tied to their bodies. They weren't recognized for nearly 100 years, and that's the kind of courage that defined these stations, and that's why we're telling the story today. So daily life at the station. Life here wasn't just rescues, it was endless drills, equipment maintenance, beach patrol, and water observation. The crew had to be in peak physical condition because when the call came, there was no time to prepare. You were already going. In 1915, the U.S. Life-Saving Service merged with the Revenue Cutter Service to form the United States Coast Guard. So when you see Coast Guard rescue swimmers and helicopters today, their roots come back to places just like this one. to these surfmen, to this shoreline, to this building. So standing here at Oregon Inlet, it's easy to focus on the beauty, but this was a place of constant danger, a place where ships broke apart in the dark, men walked into freezing surf, and ordinary people performed extraordinary acts of courage. They didn't do it for fame. Most of their names are forgotten, but hundreds, even thousands of people are alive today because they went out in the storm. So this isn't just a story about shipwrecks. It's a story about service, about sacrifice, about a time when rescue meant rowing into the ocean with nothing but strength, skill, and determination. And it happened right here on the Outer Banks. We will see you on the next adventure as we continue to listen to the echoes of freedom. The past has so many stories to tell, and we're just getting started. If you're ready to uncover them with us, like, subscribe, and join the mission. You can follow along on all our socials via the link below. Thank you for tuning in this week, and as always, we will see you on the next adventure.